Hey, wake up. Hey, man, what? You're not debunking today. Neil Degrasse Tyson. Okay, and he said this about your God of the Gaps argument. Watch this clip. Okay, here, let me see it then, jeez.
If you want to say that where we don't understand things, that's where God rests, that's where God operates, the God of the Gaps argument, because I get asked that all the time. What was around before the universe? I don't know. Must have been something, God. So they got to stick in God where we're not there yet. And I just say, well, we got top people working on that. It's a current frontier. We're not there yet. And given the history of the moving frontier, where people had previously said, well, God must be operating, we're long past that. Those explanations have come. And so there's no compelling reason to say God did it and then sort of give up and go on to the next problem.
So you see, if you just allow scientists to work a little longer, they're gonna figure out a natural cause. So if that's where you wanna put your God in this world, then God is an ever-receding pocket of scientific ignorance. So, for example, many years ago, people thought the gods were angry at us and thought Thor's almighty hammer rained down when we had a thunderstorm. And we later figured out that this is something that can be explained by natural forces. So we look stupid for saying it's the god of thunder when it's just a series of natural forces that did it, right? Exactly, you get it! So that's not our position when we talk about going back to the creation of the universe. I don't want you to straw man me. Okay, sure. So what are you actually saying then? You're never gonna find a natural cause for all of nature because nature wasn't created. Nature's the effect. It can't be the cause. It's wrong in principle. It contradicts itself. It's a self-refuting claim. I don't follow. How can it be a contradiction? It's science. So if it's true that all of nature has a beginning, by definition, nature couldn't be the cause. There must be something supernature or supernatural that created it. Hold up, just to be clear, you still don't know though. It sounds a lot like God of the Gaps to me. So no, here it is. We are not arguing from a gap in our knowledge. We are not interpreting the evidence based on what we don't know, a gap, but on what we do know. Isaac Newton saw science as a way to find God and see his work. So it's the opposite that we're saying. Okay, explain. So creation and design are not God of the Gaps arguments because every one of your 40 trillion cells has a 3.2 billion letter genetic code. All the letters or the genome are in the right order. The geologically sudden appearance of fully formed animals and a fossil record and millions of lines of genetic information in DNA point to intelligence. Okay, that's true to say. So for example, if you see Tim loves Taylor on the sand, you don't say, oh, the waves did that, or the crabs came out the water and wrote that. You know you have positive evidence for intelligence because you know not only you lack an explanation for Tim loves Taylor, but Tim loves Taylor is actually positive evidence for an intelligent being. So we don't just lack a materialistic explanation for the origin of information. We have positive evidence from our uniform and repeated experience that only a mind is capable of producing digital information. If Tim loves Taylor is written in the sand requires intelligence, then millions of lines of genetic code in all living things does too. Period. The inference from the data is no different than the inference archaeologists made when they discovered the Rosetta Stone. It wasn't a gap in their knowledge about natural forces that led them to their conclusion, but the positive knowledge that inscriptions require intelligent inscribers. We can continue to look for natural causes of information, but insisting we will find natural causes to fill in the gap in our knowledge is simply false hope. You don't even realize you're displaying a form of faith or confidence here because you don't know. It commits the natural law of the gaps fallacy and it straight up ignores the evidence we have for an intelligent cause. Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, said DNA is like a computer program, but it's far more advanced than any software we ever created. Well, where I come from, if there's a program, there's a programmer. If there's a code, there has to be a coder. If there's a message, there has to be a messenger. So what we see in DNA is like binary code, and binary code only comes from a mind. It doesn't come from a non-personal force. It doesn't come from the four natural forces of nature. Strong and weak nuclear forces, electromagnetism, and gravity. You don't get messages from those things. I don't have enough confidence or faith to believe in that. When a personal, intelligent being, God, in the beginning said he created the earth, is far more reasonable than you telling me to deny my own reality of what I live every day of something non-intelligent like the four natural forces somehow creating intelligent, perfectly functioning beings, me and you. Do you hear me? That's not science anymore. You're trying to justify intentional, accurate, and spontaneous creation of everything from non-intelligent forces. You want me not to believe in no miracles except for that one. If that's possible, all the rest are. You can't get away from the supernature or supernatural aspect either way. Think for yourself for once. Math and science don't create anything. It's like saying 2 + 2 is fish. I like to explain the spiritual world like this. It's just like the world of microbiology. You can never see bacteria with the naked eye, and we all ignore it every day, and we don't realize how real it is. As I speak, you have a bug in your eyebrows that lives in there every day, and you could never see it, but it's always there. You never feel it, never hear it, taste it, but it's real. You need a special tool to see them, or we can go on our entire existence ignoring it. The spiritual realm is the same. Billions of people and myself have experienced, but from the atheist point of view, of course it sounds stupid. I wouldn't believe either, but if that's all that you know is science, it's hard. But being honest, you should want the whole truth. Just how amazing the world is when we use science as a tool to discover things. How much more if you were to use spiritual knowledge to discover the origins of what science studies? Only a fool says in his heart there is no God. I can't believe I used to be an atheist. What are you looking at? He's got a point.